Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
We are creating conscious community by sharing mindful manifesting skills and transcendental music.
We are all in this together.
Free your mind.
Free your mind, free your mind, free your mind, free your mind.
Here we are.
Now be here, now be here, now be here.
For me to be is to be free.
Free your mind, free your mind.
Now be here.
Now be here now, now be here. We are all in this together. We are all in this together. We are all in this together.
Energy.
Forgive, let go, release. Forgive, let go, release. Faith, trust, love. Faith, trust, love. I am grateful for everyone. I am grateful for everything.
Thank you.
I am grateful, so grateful.
Thank you, universe.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am so grateful
inside of circles.
Inside of a circle.
Of circles inside of circles inside of circles.
Inside of circles.
Circles.
Inside
of circles inside of circles inside of circles. Inside circles inside of circles. Infinity to the far reaches of our minds and beyond. Streaking past the heavens to forever, forever, forever. Here we are, here we are, the eternal present. Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
She's Jaylyn.
And he's Monty.
And we're all in this together.
I agree.
And that's a physics fact.
Yeah.
All our energy is like intertwined.
Nice.
Yeah. Energy is the foundation of matter. Actually, everything is energy, according to modern physics. So, I mean, science is slowly growing up, and they're beginning to realize that energy is everything. Mm-hmm. The only thing is they really can't identify what most of the energy is at this point, but that's to be expected. I mean, science is young. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like in its young adolescence.
Well, this whole attempt of humanity is pretty young, too.
Oh, yeah. We haven't been around that long yet.
When you look at the age of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm. One word that jumps to mind when it comes to science is sophomoric. Science is very sophomoric at this point.
Yeah, remember back when they thought, cutting you open and letting you bleed was the right way to go?
Yeah, right.
And then science proves that maybe that's not actually a good idea.
Right. As science keeps moving forward, they keep disproving
things that have
past
been,
theories, yeah.
Yeah, theories.
I mean, 100 years ago, the experts in physics were saying, don't even go into physics because we've solved it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was the expert advice 100 years ago. And now it's like, we're just beginning to figure this out.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
Oh, well, that's why this whole sophomoric thing, that's why it's good for us in general not to take our advice from sophomores in high school.
Yeah.
Or sophomores in college for that matter. Because sophomores tend to really think they know.
Yeah.
They know everything. And
actually really funny. If you've had teens, you know what we're talking about.
The sophomoric attitude. So I'm really amazed at the time, this time that in our history, because science is really beginning to understand some really amazing aspects of reality. Mm-hmm. And the whole superstring theory and everything is energy. And there's that, according to superstring theory, there's actually 10 dimensions. It's like, what is that? Don't know, really. I think 10 different energetic dimensions, 10 different types of energy waves.
And that's just a segment of science, right? Because there's many spiritual modalities that have their own number too. 64 dimensions or 13 dimensions.
But I mean, as far as science goes, as far as superstring theory goes, the math points to 10 dimensions. Mm-hmm. If superstring theory is real, there's going to be 10 dimensions. And I don't understand this super complex math, around it. But I understand that that's what they're concluding, even though they don't understand what the dimensions are. But from my perspective, I believe energetically we can hook into different energetic dimensions. I mean, as humans, if I'm stuck in fear and doubt and blame. I mean, that definitely, that energetic dimension feels a certain way for me. And if my life is in that place, I get used to it, but it's not, for me, a very productive place to be at all. I mean, I definitely go there sometimes, but when I'm there, I recognize it and I'm like, oh, I got to get out of this. And that's where the mindfulness practices come in, because we can actually get out of fear and get into more of an energetic dimension of inspiration and clarity and how we're going to improve the world.
I think those are pretty high. Like, to go from fear into inspiration is a big jump. I do want to say that there was a study done, I'm pretty sure it was in the 80s, with Carolyn Mason, the doctor that she was working with, and they did a study on people's general mood. Yeah. So their general attitude of life, there's either, they did 3, and one was an optimistic view. Yeah. And this was on cancer patients. And there was the optimists that believed that they would heal. There was the fearful ones that were pretty sure that they wouldn't. And there was the angry ones that were pissed that they even had the situation. And they were just like angry in general. So it was like the general attitude of these people: optimistic, fearful, or angry. The fearful and angry generally didn't heal very easily. And if they did heal, it didn't last. But the optimists did heal mostly. And it goes to what you're saying about energy. Because if your energy is just kind of generally optimistic, and I know you don't like that word, but
no, I don't. I like the word realistic. I mean, I believe the optimist sees the good and focuses on the good, while the pessimist focuses on the negative, but the realist sees both sides of the spectrum. I mean, as far as like cancer patients, I would say the realist would be somebody who believed, well, perhaps I can beat this, perhaps I can't. I mean, but in reality, it's all okay. Right. Because, if I go into the next stage, the next realm of death / shift, energetic shift, that's okay too. To me, that's the realistic perspective on it. Okay. Yeah. And I just, the whole optimistic thing in our culture, if you're seen as an optimist, it's just really the woke culture doesn't appreciate the optimist. And I get it. I get that, and I think it's much more effective to be a realist.
And I think that throughout time, there has been, I'm pretty sure Thomas Jefferson was one, Einstein was another. I'm just pulling this out of my head. I do not have anything in front of me to prove this, but I do feel like there's been some really big names that have innovated great things that said innovation is the way forward. Solutions are the way forward. If there's like all this stuff happening and people are running around and that is not going to get us forward. What's going to get us forward is, okay, here's the problem. What are the things that I know can work towards a solution? What are the things that I could open my mind to see if there's a solution there? So it's kind of like, I guess what you're saying, the realist, because it's willing to say, to take risk, to really think about something out of the box, and say, well, what is the innovative way forward? Yeah.
Well, in another way of looking at that, if we're having issues with our current culture, mainstream culture, instead of fighting against mainstream culture, we just create our own culture. It's like, okay, we don't believe in blame, essentially. We don't feel that's a healthy energy to hold within us. Okay, let's like you said, let's move into innovation.
Sovereignty.
Yeah, well, if we want to create a new world, we create a new world. I mean, there's two ways of doing that. We can blow up the old world, right? That's
been tried before.
Well, that's humanity's answer. I mean, historically, if we have problems with things, we kill people and blow everything up and burn buildings down, and then we're doing a great job.
Yeah,
and it's no, that's maybe not the best way to go about things. And of course, I'm being sarcastic because it's pretty obvious to me that the best way of going about things is through positive change. And it does start with our minds. And if I'm going to create a better world, I don't believe it's going to emanate from me being hateful and blameful and fearful and destructive. It's going to emanate from me being compassionate and forgiving and loving and proactive and innovative.
Yeah. And I think that right now in our culture, we have such amazing potential. We have all of the knowledge and wisdom of so many previous cultures at our fingertips.
Oh yeah.
That we can really, I think the thing about blame that really bothers me is when there's blame, you're giving the power to this person that, oh, they've ruined my life and it's their fault.
Yeah.
And if we take that back and say, okay, what is my part in it? How do I shift myself? How can I take all of these different informations and research and experiment on myself? Because in my opinion, we are all our own experiment.
Yeah.
And when we give that away to somebody else and let them experiment on us instead of us experiment on us, it's very disempowering. It's very it hurts our own personal heart. It's like, ouch, I just gave away my power to this person
or a group of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have so much knowledge at our fingertips.
Yeah.
We don't really even have to reinvent the wheel.
No. I mean, we just have to keep moving forward. Now, I love what you're saying. If I get caught up in blame, I'm giving my power away. And that's a big deal. Because if I give my power away, what am I going to be able to achieve? Not much. I'm just going to be depressed.
Exactly.
I'm going to watch my own personal energy just leave me. It's enervating to give my power away. And I want to be energized rather than, and you're right, now is the time when we have access to all this information. We can train in, just from a health perspective, we can train in yoga. We could train in Tai Chi. We could train in meditation. We can,
train in herbs.
Yeah. There's so much wisdom right at our fingertips if we know where to turn, and just getting focused on achieving a healthier state, a more energized state of existence is a great focus. And personally, that's why I absolutely limit the amount of news that I ingest, because I find that to be very low vibrational and just enervating. And it creates a situation where my mind wants to go into blame, and wants to go into hatred and all this. And that just is not beneficial. And I need to understand that even as far as politicians go, that all these politicians, which I can be, very upset with or whatever, they're just wounded humans too. They're confused.
Yeah.
They're confused. They're very childlike.
Sophomoric,
yes, indeed. Our whole culture is or not our entire culture, but mainstream culture is very sophomoric, where everybody's got the answers, but nobody really has the answer.
Or the ones that do, we cancel them because we don't want to hear their perspective.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's very sophomoric too, right? That's a sophomoric attitude. It's just like, it's time to evolve past that personally and collectively. And there's a bunch of us who are working on that. And the people who are working on innovating and creating change and creating change that's going to help the world, boom, they're the ones I want to collectively and energetically get in sync with.
One thing that goes through my mind that I just want to point out, because I think we get lost in what's the latest freak out. But one thing that I want to point out that happened during 2020 that was beautiful is everybody stayed home and nature really started to recover quickly. And I think that, it's one thing to be afraid for our world, and it's another thing to go, wait a minute, we all went home and things started to get better really quickly. Yeah. What would happen if, and I have no idea what's going to happen next, right?
Yeah,
I am in no way a psychic or anything like that.
Yeah, right.
But I do believe in the power of Mother Nature. Yeah. And if we get out of the way, and I don't know what that means, but when COVID happened and 2020 happened, nature started to rebound in some ways, and the little light in my head says, well, what about the fires? And that's something that we can't, truly control, but some things recovered, the air quality in cities and on and on and on, and so I think that instead of freaking out about the end of time and humanity or whatever, and what can we really do about it? We can get electric cars or whatever, but really it's the energy of us, our personal energy, and working towards that realist view, working towards that innovative view of how can I personally have less of a footprint and be in a better mindset. Yeah. Because, if this is Revelations and if people are just going to start, falling over or whatever, there's not much we can do about it but be kind and loving and try to enjoy the time that we do have. Yeah. And that's my perspective is if I'm afraid, if I am like in a state of you should be afraid because I'm afraid, that's going to make everything worse.
Oh, of course. I mean, and that's throughout human history, that's been the pattern. Mm-hmm. People get afraid and then they get hateful and then like bad stuff happens. And I mean, what you're saying too is just how can we be more in harmony with nature? How can we live more in harmony with nature? And let's innovate in that direction. Mm-hmm. How can humanity 50 years from now be not using fossil fuels at all? I mean, it's totally doable.
Yeah, that'd be true innovation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, perhaps it's destined to happen. I mean, we have the technology now. We just need to do it. And why not? I mean, the one thing that'll hold us back is if we just become totally hateful and like fight against each other constantly. Yeah. I mean, then we're not innovating. We're just fighting. We're hateful and we're hurting our own karma at that point. Mm-hmm. But no, I agree, and as far as 2020 and nature was recovering, like I believe quicker than anybody thought it could.
Right. That's my point.
That's interesting. Like the coral reefs around Hawaii started healing and et cetera, and let that be a valuable lesson that we can heal. And let's work on that. And let's just take some really simple steps. Let's get rid of our fossil fuel consumption. That's very doable nowadays. Let's make plastic out of hemp.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a really long time.
It makes
It'd
sense.
Be great,
you know,
it?
I mean, then we could make our like cars. They could be 90% hemp. Made out of hemp.
Yeah, just like that Ford car
long
ago.
Way back. Yeah, Henry Ford did that. And I mean, so we just need to innovate and keep moving in that direction. And there's a lot of positive movement in that direction right now. And maybe, developing a new monetary system. That would be a big deal.
And that's happening too.
That is happening. That is happening. And El Salvador is taking on Bitcoin as an official currency.
Yeah, that starts in a few days.
Yeah, it does. And it's going to help the millions of people who are in abject poverty in El Salvador. It's going to give them some hope and some means to improve their situation. And
didn't you say Cuba too?
Yeah, Cuba's moving in that direction. Afghanistan is moving in that direction. It's in Afghanistan. It's interesting because it's a bunch of women innovators in Afghanistan are saying, okay, we need to adopt Bitcoin and not take loans from the regular banks. We need to move forward. And
I do want to share that. Yeah. Just for anyone out there who wants to understand where he's coming from, we started using a search engine called DuckDuckGo, and from there he's able to research cryptocurrencies in different countries. So if you want to look up stuff, if you want to be more in the know of the not mainstream news, you can go to DuckDuckGo, which is a search engine, and then you can find more of the world news on here.
Yeah, Google is rather
oppressive.
Yeah, they lean towards censorship.
Yeah,
and
but I didn't want to go like too deep into that. I just want anyone who wants to know where you're coming from and how you're getting this information. Yep.
Yeah, well, and I study things.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's things evolve. Everything evolves over time. Nothing is stagnant. I mean, we want to like hold on to the things and pretend we can do that, but we can't. And the monetary system is going to evolve one way or another as well. And so we're witnessing that. I mean, and people
we're part of it. We're here. You, each single individual person, everyone listening today and everyone not listening today has the opportunity to be on the side of innovation and figure out how to be a part of this new monetary system.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the complaints against Bitcoin or the monetary system that, cryptocurrencies is that it takes a lot of energy, but everything takes a lot of energy. And for example, in El Salvador, they're going to be harnessing energy from the volcanoes to mine Bitcoin.
And lots of solar. They've got a lot of solar.
They have we flew into El Salvador once, and we flew over the biggest solar array I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's no reason we can't get 100% of our electricity from solar and wind and the tides and whatever else they innovate. But there's absolutely no reason we can't do that. And we will do it, I believe. So that's where the Bitcoin miners are moving more and more in that direction as well.
And I do have to say there's the perspective that because it's so decentralized that it's the I don't even know the words, like the gangs and the drug lords and whatever, they're using it. And I guess my argument would be for that, like, well, they just used cash before.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we can't change them. All we can do is change ourselves.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the blame thing that you're saying, because I cannot blame my reason to not be innovative because the drug lords are using it.
Right, because you're
like, I'd have to burn all my cash if I didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Right, for sure.
So,
for sure. And I mean, it's just good to be open to change and go with the flow of things, I believe.
And feel into it. I think that that goes into building back our intuition. A lot of us have had our intuition stripped, knocked down. There's been so much intergenerational trauma. Maybe I said that wrong. Generational trauma, where we just pass it down, unknowingly, doing the best we can with as much care as we possibly can. But we're doing it. We're passing this trauma down, which generally strips the energy system of intuition. So it's like, part of innovation is getting back our intuition and knowing when to pivot, where to pivot, and what to focus on.
And for me, one way I can lose my intuition or not trust is by engaging too much in media and social media, and too much screen time, and my intuition. I mean, and speaking about trauma, I mean, I get triggered. I am triggered. If I spend too much time on Facebook, I am triggered. If I spend too much time with the mass media, I am triggered. And that's one way to kill intuition.
Right.
Because when I'm triggered, my mind is very rigid and kind of agitated and freaked out. And then, of course, I cannot hear that subtle voice, the soft, subtle voice of intuition.
Right.
Whether that's just a feeling that's beyond words. How can I feel that in my heart?
If your mind's super busy.
Yeah, my heart's beating and I'm triggered and I got adrenaline running through me.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, so let's work on getting more intuitive for sure, because that is something that is nothing but positive.
Awesome. So what I'm feeling, just to share with everyone, our plan was to talk about the mind garden.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like maybe that's our meditation piece, is you really just going into a deep thought. I don't know, the word is escaping me right now, but a little bit of a philosophy meditation right now of just what is the mind garden and going into that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, you want me to talk about the mind garden? Okay.
Maybe I'll play the gong.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, y'all. We're going to move into a philosophical discussion on the solution of the mind garden.
Let's learn to cultivate our mind gardens. We each have a mind garden. This garden represents our various thoughts and feelings and habits. This garden, to a large extent, enables us to manifest or disables us and keeps us stuck. What does your mind garden look like? Use metacognition, mindful metacognition, which is being that witness to your own thoughts, to determine what plots you have in your mind garden. For example, if you spend a lot of time thinking about current events, that's a plot in your mind garden. It occupies a certain percentage of your mind garden. If you spend a lot of time feeling grateful, that's a plot in your mind garden. If you find yourself being resentful That's a plot in your mind garden as well. Honing your mind garden, cultivating your mind garden is a critical step at evolving your mind. My suggestion is to be that witness to your thoughts. Step 1, mindful metacognition, which is the supreme mindfulness practice you take with you wherever you are. So be the neutral and scientific witness to your thoughts. Then begin to ask yourself, is this a productive thought? Or is this an unproductive thought? You can view your thinking as your thoughts are being projected onto a screen in front of you. And the actual projector of the thought is your mind. The thoughts that are projected onto this screen are not you. They're old habits that you're witnessing as you use your metacognition skill to understand your old habits and old mind patterns. One obvious aspect of your mind garden is your self-talk. What do you say to yourself? What thoughts are projected onto your screen when you make a mistake? Do you engage in negative self-talk habitually? Are you victimized by your own thoughts? I think many of us are. Personally, I've noticed that my negative self-talk can really get in the way of me having good self-esteem. Negative self-talk tends to be enervating. It takes my energy. Negative self-talk can keep us stuck in old patterns. And in fact, negative self-talk in itself is an old habitual pattern that we can and should perhaps work on weeding out of our mind garden. Step 1 is to notice our self-talk. Step 2 is when the self-talk is unproductive, we can learn how to either reboot the mind, which means turning the chatter off altogether and finding stillness, or we can learn to re-steer our internal dialogue. For example, if I make a mistake and I notice myself going into unproductive self-talk, I can re-steer. I can, number one, notice that habit occurring. And number two, re-steer the self-talk, consciously shifting the talk into something such as, okay, you made a mistake. You're a human being. Humans make mistakes. You're going to learn from this mistake and try not to make this mistake again. In that way, the mistake has purpose because you're able to identify the mistake and shift into new behavioral patterns. You got this, brother. Talk to yourself like you're talking to your best friend. Talk to yourself from an encouraging perspective. Reducing negative self-talk is a win. Cultivate your mind garden. Step 1. Encouraging self-talk. Encouraging, enabling, and empowering self-talk. Once we begin to cultivate our mind gardens, we begin to realize that we are, in fact, in charge of our thoughts. We're in charge of the projection that occurs within our minds. That screen we look at, we're in charge of that now. Instead of the old habits and patterns running us and just running amok and just continuing on to be passed down from generation to generation, it's our responsibility now to shift and to take charge of the thoughts. Take charge of your self-talk. Encourage yourself to become a better human. See the good in yourself and understand we are here to evolve, and it all begins with our thoughts, with our minds. You can be in charge of your thinking patterns, or not. You can be enslaved by old patterns of thinking, or not. You can find freedom. And with that freedom comes a feeling of empowerment and higher self-esteem and more peace. This is a practice that you can take with you anywhere and any place. Getting into that habit of watching the screen of your thinking, watching to see what is projected onto that screen, and then being the director of that process is a big step towards reducing anxiety, reducing depression, is a big step towards feeling better and learning and discovering your purpose. And through this process of discovering your purpose, you will feel empowered to achieve whatever you're destined to achieve in this lifetime. You will find more peace of mind, work with your self-talk. Step 1. All right, learning to cultivate your mind garden. You know, the thing of it is, it's actually fun. It's exciting. You know, when you begin to like really hook into notice these old patterns and, oh, that old pattern's been passed down from my parents, you know, oh, that old pattern's been like drilled into my head through the media. You know, oh, that old pattern is, you begin to notice the patterns and then begin to identify where they come from. And in doing so, you're beginning to take charge of what's going on in your mind, and that's exciting. And my suggestion is to just view it as a great adventure and have fun with that adventure. And let the sky be the limit. If I engage in cultivating my mind garden, what will my mind garden look like 5 years from now? That's the question. If I don't engage in cultivating my mind garden, good chance it's going to 5 years from now look exactly the same. But if I do engage in shifting and work on cultivating the mind garden, what will my mind garden look like in 5 years, and how will that affect my life 5 years from now? It's very interesting. We're great manifestors. Let's use that power in a wise and productive way.
All right, my friends, we have made it to the end of our Mindflow radio session this month. We appreciate you, and we're grateful to be growing our mindful living community through these conversations and our mindful music. This next one we are going to play for you is very meaningful to me. I'm hoping to not cry while I'm singing. It is about the circle of life, accepting the circle of life, and doing our best while we're here to love one another. All right. Many blessings. As always, see you on the flip side. You can reach out in many ways. You know how to find us. I'm Jaylyn. And Monty here is on drums. Be well, y'all. Satanama, Love one another right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now. We are born, we live and we die. So let's fully play this game of life under the one sun, one sun. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now. Right now, let's love each other. Forgive our differences, 'cause together we stand and divided we fall. So let's work on our own vibration and honor one another throughout our decisions as this future unfolds and evolves for all of us. Blessings.